All right, let's just go ahead and get started. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Demo Dive-In webinar. My name is Jenny Travis. I am with the International Franchise Association, and we have a great session lined up for you today. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that we are recording today's webinar, and we will be making it available later this evening on community.franchise.org. And if you have any questions for today's speakers, please add them to the Q&A box and they will be addressed towards the end of the demo dive-in. Today's topic is a new way to elevate your brand with better global payments, and it is brought to us by Flywire. Here to provide today's discussion is Greg Levin, SVP of International Business, Chris Jordan, Director of Solutions, and Chris Couch, Regional VP of B2B. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you, Flywire, for sponsoring today's demo dive-in. I will go ahead and turn things over to you.
Great. Hey, thanks for the setup. Nice to see you all, and hopefully we can be efficient and direct today and add some value to the franchise community. So as mentioned, my name is Greg Levin. I'm the Senior Vice President of the International Business Vertical here at Flywire. I've been in the B2B payment space for a bit here, 15 plus years on the AP, AR, Treasury side. So hopefully today we provide a little context on who Flywire is, but most importantly, I think everyone's here to see the movie, so to speak, and actually see the demo. So what we're doing differently in this space at Flywire is really connecting data with money movement. And in the franchise space for brands, it's really about the royalty payments and the collections of the fees and also the IFF. So hopefully, we give you some things to think about today to consider in your business to drive efficiency really around the royalty collection side. Let me try to share my screen seamlessly here. It worked a couple minutes ago. So, all right, Chris Jordan, can you nod if you can see that? Good. Okay, cool. All right, we're here. Wow, that was the fastest I've ever done that. So there's us, prettier pictures of us from a couple of years ago. So we still use those. So really quick, just I think it's good for context setting. Flywire is a global publicly traded business. We went public in 2021. And we've been around since 2009. So we've been rapidly expanding the business globally, and we're very proud to tell the audience here today. We've got 4,000 clients worldwide, a little over 1,200 employees. We've strategically put offices all over the world to accommodate our growing global customer base. And simply put, there at the bottom, Flywire delivers the most important and complex payments in the world. So we kind of started with the hard stuff, and so it makes the easier stuff kind of easy, meaning domestic payments. So really quick, from the franchise space, we have verticalized our business really well throughout the years and really focused on specific payment types to accommodate those businesses. And so for the franchise industry, we really help with growth and expansion, both domestically and globally. And, if you can't grow due to lack of payment infrastructure, it really hinders the growth potential of a business. The second bullet point there, let me get out this always is better. Here we go. The second bullet point there is, when you are expanding globally, it's really important to consider the payment method as part of the overall growth strategy, or else DSOs and different FX fees and FX spread risks can come into play. There's a lot of payment delays in global payments for unknown reasons. And then last but not least, when you are trying to reconcile those royalties, it can be a challenge not knowing what you've been paid for. At Flywire, what we try to do is answer 3 questions for businesses, which are, when will I be paid? Where is my payment? And then most importantly, I guess, in this bottom part is, what have I been paid for? And so today we're going to show you software that drives value in the payments. And again, tying that data component to the money movement aspect really drives a ton of value in the franchise space. Should go to the next screen here. This one, different brands collect royalty payments on a different basis. Most are collecting monthly, some are even collecting weekly. And to do that, you've got to have sophisticated payment infrastructure to accommodate. But the big stat here on our recent survey is that 53% of brands are actually unhappy with the way they collect payments today. And so this is definitely a growing trend and something that the market is trying to solve for. And then there's doing that domestically is one challenge. Doing it cross-border is a different challenge. So really, simplifying collections, driving expansion, and increasing profitability are three key themes that we talk to our brands about. And one to highlight here is 55% of folks, brands in this survey that we did, lose up to 2 to 5% of revenue just dealing with current payment processes. And so when you're operating on thin margins, as you would, 2 to 5% is a huge number that can impact growth. And so what does Flywire do? In this last slide, and we'll get to the movie, the demo, but really what we do is, simply put, we allow brands to get paid faster by offering local payment methods globally. So we have 1,200 payment methods within Flywire. And so what that means from an international perspective and domestic is your franchisees can pay how they want to pay in the currency they want to pay in, and it doesn't impact a brand's billing process nor currency the brand receives. We also, again, the data component, which you'll see here in 2 seconds, is improved visibility throughout the entire journey, meaning connecting that payment with the software side, whether it be an invoice or a customer portal, a payer portal, a franchisee portal. We're improving the visibility into where that payment is and what the payment's been for. And then, the local options and reduced cost. What Flywire does for businesses, especially global businesses, is it seems like you're transacting locally, even though it's an international transaction. So with that said, I will stop sharing my screen and pass it over to Chris Couch to show you the software.
All right, thanks, Greg. So I'm going to take you through a tour of the software, the product. It's called Invoice by Flywire. It's an end-to-end invoice to cash system. Basically, that means we give you a set of tools to automate everything accounts receivable. Our goal with the software is to not only enable payments for you globally, but to provide you the ability to issue invoices and essentially collect money while you sleep. So you should be able to issue invoices and let the system take over and run your collections processes and collect cash for you, until the system runs into a point where it believes it needs to signal you, right? And so this is the dashboard for Invoiced. The first thing you'll see is this action items panel that sits here. This is where you as a user log in. This is the first thing you're going to look at every day and see what action items there are for you to tackle. Invoiced has a task management system. So as invoices are issued and you run into maybe past due notices, maybe a customer has a question, maybe there's a collection routine running on the customer, and it needs some intervention, we're going to create a task on your calendar for you to address. The system has an AR inbox associated with it, and that allows you to have a central communication portal for everything AR in your business. So as your customers are asking you questions on invoices or statements, or just in general around accounts receivable, maybe credit, that'll pop up as an action item needing attention here. You can click into that and answer your customers' questions. Broken promises to pay. Once an invoice is issued, if you are running collections routines and taking notes on customer accounts, one of the things that you can do is note promises to pay. So a customer says, I can make this payment on this date. You should have it by this date. You can note that on their account. We'll track it for you formally. Customers can do that themselves through the customer portal, which we'll look at in a few minutes. We have auto pay capabilities. So if you save payment information or customers save payment information on their accounts, auto pay can be enabled. So you can issue invoices and have those invoices paid automatically. There's many configurations around this, from number of days to delay payment. So if you issue an invoice and you want to wait 5 days before you collect that payment, you can set that up. You can also set up retry logic. So if a payment for some reason fails, you can set up a series of rules for retries. We have a cash application system and a payments management system. So as payments are coming in, most of the time we'll be able to find and apply those payments to particular invoices. If for some reason we can't, we'll take some educated guesses. And by using some AI algorithms, we can also process remittance information automatically through email. And we will flag these as unapplied for you to come review and apply them, verify them and apply them. Again, AR Inbox is a generic repository for communicating with your customers. One of the interesting features around the AR Inbox is you can organize payments or conversations down to the invoice level. So you can see all your AR communications with your customers across your company. You can drill down to see only communications with a particular customer. And then you can drill down to see only communication related to a particular invoice. And then if you have this hooked up to an accounting system, we'll give you an indication of whether you're in sync or you have errors that need to be addressed for various reasons. So that in general are the different, gives you a high level overview of the different tasks that a user would have when they log in immediately to Invoiced. The rest of this dashboard is informational around your AR processes. This is a scorecard, gives you some information based to tell you your current average time to pay, your current collection efficiency index, current DSO, your current outstanding AR balance, the number of items that make up that balance, and any expected payments that the system knows about. This next set of information is your AR aging, your top debtors. So basically a leaderboard of who owes you the most money and where they are currently. The collections graph will give you some information over some time period, what's been invoiced versus what's been collected. So Invoiced manages several different pieces of data. So customers, you can manage estimates here. So if part of your business process is to send out estimates, maybe collect deposits up front, you can do that. Invoices are managed, obviously. We have the concept of payment plans, which are installment plans associated with invoices. And we can get into that in a little bit. Payments, of course, multiple different, there's a deep amount of payment logic built into the system, not only from collecting the payments, but being able to manage and apply payments to invoices, and making sure that all the appropriate information is passed back and distributed to upstream systems. Again, the AR Inbox, this is your task management system. Subscriptions, we do provide a tool in here to manage B2B subscriptions. So you can set up a recurring contract with your customers, and collect that information or invoice them based on a contract that you have in place. Reports, and then we have an app store, which we'll also get into shortly. The system is a multi-entity system, so you can have multiple different entities and businesses that you manage out of your instance, and it's multi-currency. The other thing I'll mention here is that it is, from a user perspective, it's an enterprise level system, meaning that you can set up very fine-grained controls over what your users can, what data your users can see, and what permissions they have to perform certain tasks. So you can restrict users to only see certain customer information or information however you've defined it. So if you want to manage customer data on a regional basis. For example, you can restrict users to only seeing data out of a particular region. And then you can restrict users from being able to issue invoices, edit invoices, manage payments, and that sort of thing. I'm going to switch into a different entity. So this is an entity we've set up to called the brand to show you the life cycle of an invoice being issued. So normal flow of an invoice to cash workflow and invoice is an invoice is created somewhere in an upstream system, typically an ERP system or an accounting system, and it syncs over into invoice automatically. I have several invoices set up already, so I'm going to drop into one. Here is one that would have been synced over from an accounting system. It shows the customer information, customer's payment terms, the date the invoice was issued, the due date of the invoice. This invoice is past due, so it's giving us that indicator at the top. The line items are associated with this invoice. We don't have any payments associated yet. And each invoice in the system can carry files along with it and supporting documents. You can also attach files at the customer level. So if, for example, you have a contract you want to manage or keep on file with the customer and allow the customer access through the customer portal, you attach it at the customer level. If you need to attach supporting documents for each invoice, you can do that here as well. And the customers will be able to access this information from the customer portal. So I'm going to drop over to show you what a customer portal looks like really right now. So this customer would receive an invoice through email in a typical delivery method. That email is completely customizable, but would look something like this. So they get an email, says you have a new invoice, you can access it here. Customer clicks on that button and they're taken to the customer portal. They're taken directly to the invoice that was sent to them. This portal, we have a high adoption rate on users for the customer portal. And one of the reasons why is you'll notice we use a security infrastructure called Magic Links. It's similar to doing a password reset on an account each time. So when a customer of yours receives an email, they get a unique URL for that particular invoice and takes them right in, logs them into the system automatically to that invoice. It's a one-time use URL and it expires over time. The reason we do it that way is there's not a set of username and passwords to manage. That drives the highest adoption for portal usage. You can set up different security infrastructure depending on your requirements. Once the user is here or the customer is here, they're presented with the invoice. If there are any files associated with this invoice, they would be here as well. They are able to download this invoice in various formats, PDF, CSV, XML. This can be beneficial if they need to download this invoice and upload it into an AP portal or do some other sort of internal processing with it. This is a dialog box for being able to ask questions on this particular invoice. And then, of course, we have the pay button. Going through the pay process, this is a customizable user experience. In this particular case, we have it enabled so that if there are multiple items open on the account, we're going to ask the customer if they'd like to pay those as well, along with this invoice, so they can select whatever number of open items they have. In the next step, this is also configurable. You can allow the users to select amount to pay you, or you can force them to make a payment in full. So if you allow them, they can come in and create a short pay for whatever particular reason. They can give you a reason through the dialogue and chat feature of the system, and then they can move to the next step, which is to submit payments. The Flywire payment experience at this point allows, based on the customer's location in the world, they'll be presented with whatever payment options are available for them in that region. And so this would be a US user, and they'll be presented with US based payment methods.
Make sure to give a last name,
Yep.
Chris.
There we go. Here, I'm going to jump back out and go to a customer and show you what it looks like from a different country.
Yeah, I think, and real quick before you, dang it, before you X that out, I just wanted to highlight something. Is it easy to get back to? So this is, oh shoot, you're gonna have to go back in. So this up in the top left, the 12,100, that is what the franchisee is paying to the brand. So advertising fees, tech fees, royalty payment, IFF. And so this is kind of the wow moment of Flywire, right? We've spent the last 15 years building out our payment network. And so especially if you're a global brand, you don't have to go multiple payment providers to achieve several payment methods and the payment methods that your franchisees want to pay in. So in this small snapshot, you've got many different options, all the way from instant payments to PayPal to credit card options. And so you're not as a brand, you're not having to solve for how does a franchisee want to pay you back. It's just it's a non-conversation with Invoiced and Flywire. And so just wanted to highlight this, and it gets even more fun when we change the countries here in a second. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back into Invoiced as a user. I'm going to look at this customer from Spain. We'll do the same thing. We'll go to, they would get an email. Once they click on that, they'll be brought back into the same portal experience. And we'll go through here. Now in this particular one, we're going to save a payment method on file. So the customer could reuse that payment method over and over. Or they could use autopay as a feature.
So yeah, in the same interface here now, we've got a franchisee that's in Spain. And as you can see now, the payment methods have changed, and it's the same tech stack. It's not an additional payment provider that you have to go get in Spain to accommodate the franchisee's payment needs. So we do regular demos and sessions with prospects and customers, and it gets to be a game of like, well, what do you have in Nigeria? What do you have in Brazil? What do you have? And it's pretty fun to see the payment options and logos change. So China's another big one, India, but like I mentioned earlier, we have over 1,200 payment methods configured in the system across 240 countries and territories. So it gets pretty fun.
And Lee, as you asked in the Q&A, as you can see here, right, this is a USD invoice of $2,300. We're handling the FX calculations, and so please ignore the variable amounts here. This is our demo environment. We have a bunch of fun data in there. But as you can see, we actually offer SEPA direct debit here, and that SEPA direct debit can actually become a stored payment method. I know a big thing in the franchise or franchisee space is chasing franchisees to pay. So if you can store payment methods, that lessens that friction. And so we try to help you guys as much as possible with that. And just another note, what payment methods appear is configurable. So if you choose not to allow payment methods that cannot be tokenized and stored, we can modify that for you. I think in most cases, we recommend that you expose as many as possible because we see that it actually it lessens DSO, but we do understand why people want to move towards just saved payment methods.
Yeah, and
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and
another thing to call out, I know in the franchise space is, hey, our contract is in US dollars, like our franchisees in X country have to pay us back in dollars. True. And so we're not asking you to change your contract terms, but whenever the franchisee does go to pay, sure, they can pay you back in dollars, but it's always going to come back to you in dollars if you're in the US. I haven't taken a look at all the attendees. I don't know where all of you are, but if you are in the US, you're always going to receive those dollars, and the contract doesn't change. It's just you're giving optionality to your franchisee to pay in their local currency if they want to.
And an important thing to note is if you have an invoice for 2,300 US dollars, regardless of how the payer pays, you receive 2,300 US dollars into your bank account. So it minimizes reconciliation issues. And so obviously there's an invoice at some point that you need to pay, but we don't net settle, we gross settle, so that you're not seeing, oh, I got $2,272 in my bank account. What's this for? And then that added along with obviously the software we provide makes reconciliation much simpler.
Okay, I'm going to execute this payment now. So asking me to confirm. So the payment's processed, it's come back. At this point in time, your user can, or your customer can download the receipt that would give them the acknowledgement. If I go, we're going to explore the larger customer portal, but if I go to the customer account, I've stored this payment method on file. This is where the customer has basically contains your entire AR relationship with this particular account. So this doesn't have any open items on it, but if there were open items, we'd be listing the aging. In fact, I'll just drop over here to this customer to give you a better view of that. So this customer would come into the customer portal. We'd give them an account summary. We'd give them a quick aging overview. The billing details are here. If you allow your customers to update this through the portal, they can. This is a pretty convenient feature, particularly if they have billing contacts within their organization that change on a regular basis. They can click in here and they can manage their contacts themselves, right? So it alleviates at least some work on your side typically, and keeping that account structure up to date. Again, if they, as we saw on the previous customer account, they had a payment method on file, they can always come in here and proactively add and manage their payment methods. The activities tab gives you a complete view of all of my activities with the customer. So all invoices, both current and past invoices, any estimates that have been sent to the customer, any credit notes, any payments here. A note on credit notes, we provide a number of different ways to handle them. You can issue credit notes in the system, and then the credit notes will also sync over from your accounting system. Those credit notes can be applied by only you as a user. You can apply credit notes automatically. So the next new invoice that comes into the system will have any open credit notes applied. And then you can allow customers to apply credit notes themselves. So if they have an open item and they want to apply a credit note, you can give them the ability to apply credit notes if you'd like. And then any payments that would be on record that they've made against system made with you will be listed here as well. They can generate statements. They can generate based on time or open item statements, and then again, billing details here. The customer account's completely custom, or the customer portal's completely customizable. So look and feel, the layout, what data is presented can be completely customized. One of the big benefits that we see with this customer portal is reducing the amount of inquiries that come back into your AR team. So all the data is here. They can download past invoices, they can download receipts. So if you run to the end of a period or end of a tax period, you can point them to the portal to come get the same information you might have to spend time digging up. I'm going to switch back into the user view of an account. I'm going to go back to an account that has a little more data in it and show you a few things. Greg mentioned chasing earlier. So one of the most powerful pieces of this is what we call our chasing system or smart chasing system. Chasing happens in our system at either the account level or the invoice level. So you have the ability within a customer to set them up on what we call a chasing cadence. In this case, a cadence has been assigned to this customer that shows that once a invoice has gone a day past due, we're going to schedule a call to make a call to them. At 5 days past due, we're going to send them an email. At 10 days past due, we're going to make another call. 15 days past due, another email, so on and so forth. These are completely customizable. You can make them almost as many steps as you need, and you can automatically assign them based on customer criteria. So you can assign them if they're VIP customers, net 30 customers, maybe they're in a particular region, you want to handle them differently, maybe high-risk customers. But chasing cadences are a very powerful part of the system and help you reduce your average time to pay and collect payments faster. I'm going to give you a quick overview of what the chasing setup looks like. So again, you can have a large number of chasing cadences with a large number of steps in them. And the basic way of setting this up is we'll pretend we're going to set up a net 45 cadence. We're going to have it run at 7 a.m. every day. And we're going to ignore customers that have a balance of $100 or less. And the next step here is to set up a series of steps. And so since this is going to be assigned to net 45 customers, I want to send out a reminder. So I'll do first reminder when the account age is 35 days old. So this is 5 days before or 10 days before the invoice is due. I'm going to send them an email. I could send it to any role that the customer has as contacts in their account. And I'm just going to use a quick first reminder email. Emails are completely customizable as well. We provide a templating engine and a templating language inside Invoiced. So the look and feel, the language, verbiage, everything will be whatever it is you want it to be. I'm going to quickly do a second step here. So we'll say we send them a reminder 10 days before. We'll send them a first past due notice real quick. This is when the invoice goes 5 days past due. We'll send them an email. Again, we can pick a role and we'll send them any email template that you want. Now, the couple of things to keep in mind on this, you can smart chasing at the account level. So again, we talked about it. You can do it at the account level or the individual invoice level. At the account level, if there is an open invoice, just one, then we'll chase that invoice. If there are more than one open invoice or more than one open item on the account, then we'll chase the account balance. So we kind of switch from sending them an invoice and saying, please pay this, to sending them a statement saying, please pay your balance. The next thing is to assign this cadence to customers. And this is where it gets to be pretty powerful. So I can assign this manually. So as new customers come in, I can pick and choose which cadence I want them to be on initially. I can assign a default cadence, so they're always assigned a cadence, or I can I can assign them based on a configurable set of parameters. Let's say I want to assign this to customers that have net 45 terms. So I would come in and just set up a rule that says, hey, when new customers are created, automatically assign them a chasing cadence of net 45. Going back into here, the other thing you can do with cadences is that they can be stacked and you can move from cadence to cadence. So this might be the initial cadence that Bob Smith here was assigned, but I can, once his cadence expires and finishes, I might elect to assign him to a different cadence, maybe one that is I could set it up for customers in a particular region or customers that are more high risk, I can set them on a different set of cadences. And you can automatically change in an automated way, you can change cadences and manage cadences through a different progression. Some other things to note in the system before I wrap up here, reporting. So we provide a bunch of out-of-the-box reports. And then we provide a reporting engine that you can build reports using a drag and drop interface. Reporting is always critical to AR teams. This is an example of a reconciliation report that's out of the box. You can download these in PDF or CSV. You can also schedule a number of reports to be delivered to you on some frequency, so weekly, monthly, quarterly. We also provide a series of applications that we are pre-integrated with. So we understand the importance of having integrations with ERP and accounting systems. We provide a number of those out of the box. If you don't find one listed here, we provide a set of tools to easily get there. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Greg.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Chris and Chris. But I guess now we'll do some Q&A if folks in the audience have some questions. And if not, hopefully everyone could see a little bit of differentiated value today, and you can take that back to your businesses and see if tying the data to the payment side could help you with royalty collections. Chris, you saw a question earlier, Jordan. I'm not seeing anything in the chat, even the one that came through. Oh, here it is, Q&A. Okay. You please show an example from Saudi Arabia. Can you go back in, Couch, and queue up Saudi Arabia? Lee, are you just wanting to know the payment options we have there? Is that, here we go. We're going to do it. Yes. Okay, cool. Here we go.
And Greg, I answered the direct debit question about the
Oh,
UK
okay.
and Europe. Yeah.
I was looking at the chat. I didn't see the Q&A thing down there. It's very obvious now. Oops. We'll just change the country where the franchisee is. I think we've got all available payment options in the demo system set up, right? Is that fair to assume?
We should, yeah. And please note, because this is demo, right? Chris can put in any data he wants, but obviously we're an international payments company. So if this was actually a real transaction run against a credit card processor, we would be running a bunch of security checks.
So Lee is.
And what Chris just showed you, by the way, by expanding the other currencies, is what Greg mentioned before, is your payers may be able to source US dollars. So they may want to pay you in US dollars or euros, but obviously here they have a chance to pay you in local currency and or some sort of logical other currencies they might be able to source.
Cool. She said very cool. So maybe that sufficed to answer the question. Cool. All right. Well, we can give some time back, and hopefully everyone is ending the year strong and having a good start of Q4. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
See you.
Thank you so much, Greg, Chris, and Chris. This was excellent content and excellent feedback from all of you, and we really do appreciate it. The recording of this webinar, along with the presentation deck, will appear on our website early this evening. And again, you'll be able to find that at community.franchise.org. I just wanted to say thank you very much again to our speakers and to the Flywire team. And thank you for everyone tuning in. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.